Hello, A Day with Caleb. We are back with the movie reviews series. We did Mummy, we did Top Gun Maverick. Now we are doing The Mummy Returns 2001. We pick up here, and this one I did see in theaters. Unfortunately, I didn't see the first Mummy in theaters. Uh, we just didn't know about it, and I didn't know about it until the horror makeup show. But this one we did see in theaters, which was fantastic. And with the theme park tie-in, we went back a couple years later after seeing the mummy props, and we went to this timeshare DoubleTree, and our parents would have to suffer through this like 2 or 3 hour long like pitch where they would try and sell you like timeshare. But for those hours of like them pitching, you would get like a free stay at DoubleTree, which is at least back in the day, it was like the tops as far as hotel accommodations. You had basketball courts, pools, paddle boats, all kind of stuff. But at the end of those interviews, along with free stays and food and a bunch of stuff, you would get tickets to Universal and the newly opened Islands of Adventure. So we got tickets, but they were like 1 day tickets, one use tickets. So my dad and Josh went to one park, Universal. Me and my mom went to one park, Islands. Then the next day we switched. So me and my mom went to Universal. They went to Islands. And while at Universal, they had props from The Mummy Returns, including the bus that is in the film, and we'll talk about that scene in a minute. But that bus is still there. It is not red anymore. It is purple. And some of you Potterheads out there might know what I'm talking about. It is at the front of Diagon Alley, Harry Potter, of course. And that bus is used in, is it Prisoner of Azkaban? One of the middle films, year 4 or year 3, year 5, somewhere in there they use a double-decker bus that kind of shrinks and expands, if you remember from the films. But that bus is actually the screen-used Mummy Returns bus. I don't know if it's the same bus they used in the Harry Potter film, but they took that Mummy Returns bus and prop and they transformed it into Harry Potter, which kind of stinks as a Mummy Returns guy, but to at least still have it in the parks where I can still see it, that does, I take solace in that. And Harry Potter is a great franchise, so if you're going out, you better go out with something at least equal or better than that, and that is the case in this. And Mummy Returns, see what I did there? Most of the cast, obviously the people that get killed in the first one aren't coming back. R.I.P. Winston. But we have Jonathan, we have Evie, we have Rick returning, and Rick and Evie have a kid that some find annoying, and when he does like moms and dads, when he adds like a S, that I think is interesting. But he can be kind of a whiny person, kind of on the train when Imhotep like kidnaps him. Anyway, they're there on the dig. uh, trying to find these hieroglyphs, and Evie starts seeing these visions, and it turns out that Evie is like reincarnated. She used to be a princess, a daughter of the pharaoh, and her, and Noxunamun and Imhotep were all in there. So there's this cool scene where Evie fights a Noxunamun with these like little swords, what do you call them, katanas, that Raphael uses in the Ninja Turtles, and they sick mask, like the coolest, like I do collect masks. We have a video on my mask collection. That would be a cool mask to have in the collection. Maybe someday that will happen. We can make that happen. But some cool action scenes. She finds that out, and then these, I guess, these people hired by Imhotep and the reincarnated Noxunamun go to take out Rick, Evie, and their son. And there's this cool, like, collapsing thing similar to the library scene in the first one. So they eventually take the kid, but before they do that, he puts on the bracelet of the Scorpion King, and it kind of flashes onto the hieroglyphs there, like different points are different points of geography, different locations that they have to go to, and he has to go to the temple of the Scorpion King before I believe it's like the third day, before the sun rises on the third day, or he dies essentially so the Scorpion King can live and be resurrected. So Imhotep steals the kid. Rick and Evie, of course, go after him, and there's this cool scene where Noxunamun goes to their house, and Jonathan is there, and they kind of shoot up the place, and him and Rick go into the tub, but before that, Rick shows up and he says, "I thought I said no more wild parties, Jonathan." And Jonathan says, "Well, when you're popular," I quote that more than I will admit. And then the mummies, of course, attack the gang, and Odette Fair's back to help take down the creature, but his guards are chasing him. There's these cool, they climb on buildings, and they jump onto the double-decker bus, and at the end, once they crush the guards, Odette Fair says, "This was my first bus ride." That to me is so iconic, so funny. But the kid kind of leaves breadcrumbs to where the next location will be, so Rick and Evie can kind of track their movements. They end up where the Scorpion King is. They get there just in time. Rick throws the kid into the temple. The bracelet unlocks, chunks the bracelet. He doesn't want to go through that again. The priest, I guess he's like a priest that raises Imhotep along with the Noxunamun's help. He kind of gets the bracelet, puts it in this hole, and his arm gets destroyed. So that, I've always been leery of putting my hand in different places where I can't see because of that scene. So he's KO'd after that point. He's no worry to anybody. then the Scorpion King comes, and this is where a lot of people kind of tune out because it is horrible CGI. But I learned recently why it's horrible CGI. It's because when The Rock filmed Mummy Returns, he of course had that cool opening scene, but then he kind of was whisked away with wrestling with WWE, so they couldn't do the facial scanning and recognition that you need to create CGI. You can't just like magically make the Rock Scorpion King. You gotta digitally map their face into a computer, and then you can like composite and move it how you want to. But they didn't have that luxury, so for them not having scan The Rock's face, that's pretty good, and on a time constraint, along with a budget. So considering that, that it's still hard to watch that like early PS1 graphic of The Rock as the Scorpion King, but with a lot of films you overlook some stuff, and I overlooked that. And we didn't even talk about the little pygmy dudes. They kind of take out people, and Rick and Jonathan are like sniping a lot of people. And the reason why, and this is just a theory, the reason why Jonathan drinks so much is because he also served in the war. And you can see that with the sniper action. Him and Rick, like, step for step, take out these pygmy dudes. So, that's kind of a little backstory to Jonathan's drinking, why he drinks. People say because of the war, like the effects of the war. And I could see that. That's a good theory. And there's also a running gag where this guy like almost gets killed by like this dagger or the pygmy, but he like gets out of the way just in time to avoid it, and then he eventually, I think, dies at the end. I can't remember, but anyway, Imhotep, Rick face off against the Scorpion King, and whoever takes down the Scorpion King controls the army. So obviously Imhotep wants to control the army and take over the world. Obviously Scorpion King just wants to get out there and control the world himself. Rick wants to take down the Scorpion King and Imhotep at the same time, which is a big ask and a big like venture to do that. So he kind of takes him out with the spear that Jonathan found, and that was a neat callback too, where Jonathan couldn't remember the stork symbol, what that meant. Manifesta, I believe, is the term. But then the kid couldn't think of the stork name either, but Jonathan knew about it because Evie told him. I thought that was a cool like way to do it. So they take out the Scorpion King. This kind of wall opens up with these dead, I guess, mummies or people trying to bring Rick and Imhotep down, drag them down, and take them out. So Noxunamun and Evie have to go across where this falling temple is like crumbling around them. They could get crushed, but Evie doesn't care. She wants to save her guy, Rick. But Anaxinamoon's like, peace, deuces, I'm out of here. She leaves. Uh, so Imhotep kind of just gives up because for 2 films and like thousands of years, this dude has like, his sole purpose has been to like raise Anaxinamoon, and then she just, at the first sign of trouble, she's out of there. So he kind of just gives up at the end. Then, of course, Rick, Evie, their kid, Jonathan, they all save the day and end up with the big gold pyramid, and not even talk about the hot air balloon ship, which is crazy but fantastic. And him and the captain of the hot air balloon, like Jonathan and the captain of the hot air balloon ship, they have some cool lines. They're kind of back and forth, like fighting, some good chemistry there. So overall, a great film. 1 and 2. We could review 3, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I definitely wanted to do the first 2 just because they're so ingrained with me growing up, with all the stories of how it came to be and different things. And then over the years collecting variations and posters, and now meeting Brendan Fraser. Hopefully we'll meet more of the cast. Just too cool. These 2 films hold a special place in my heart. And the video games, which we are doing the video game playthroughs. So like, subscribe, share with a mummy lover, and share your stories of Universal. Did you ever see props from Mummy? Did you know the purple double-decker bus was actually from Mummy Returns? Comment all that down below. Until next time, keep your obsessions alive and keep collecting.